Conversations at Hotel Charlie.
So what's up, everyone? Thanks for checking out Conversations at Hotel Charlie. It's been a minute. I always say this, but life got crazy and a little behind schedule. So I decided to do Conversation at Hotel Charlie a little different today. Usually I'm the interviewer, but today I'm the, what is the correct term?
Interviewee.
Interviewee. So today I brought my friend Jerusalem Weiss here, and we're gonna kind of flip the table around. He's gonna interview me because we're approaching our 3rd year anniversary of the shop. There's a lot of things that I think people don't know about HC. There's a lot of things that people don't know about myself. And I figured there's probably not a better time to do it than today. So thanks everyone for checking it out. And this is Jerusalem Weiss.
Yep, once again, I am Jerusalem Weiss. Let's get started, Russ.
Yeah. All right, ask away.
So, first question for today. Where are you from?
I'm from San Diego, born and raised. And specifically, I'm from Chula Vista / Bonita. I grew up here my whole life. I went away for a little bit. I went up to LA for a little bit. I went up to Inland Empire for a little bit. And I lived out in Temecula for a little bit.
Okay.
But for the most part, I mean, this is my home.
Chula Vista?
Chula Vista.
Okay. And you've lived here, how long have you been, like, that you stayed here?
I've been alive for a long time.
Yeah?
So, I came here, like, I lived here. I went to high school here, elementary school here, you know. Went to college, SDSU. And then after that, I took off to LA for a bit.
Okay.
You know.
Just having some fun out there, doing some work?
No, I went to work. So that's like an interesting thing. Like for me, I went to school and I graduated like public administration.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, I can't even tell you what a public administrator is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah, like I don't even have the slightest clue.
Okay.
I mean, I took the classes and I did well and whatever, but it wasn't like where my heart was. You know what I mean? My hobbies have always been like import cars, graphic design, skateboarding. So I just knew, like, I went to college to satisfy like my parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are in that boat.
Yeah, so my mom passed away when I was 14. She died of cancer, but the last thing that she told me is she wanted me to go to college.
Okay.
So from the time I was 14, I just kind of knew I have to go to college.
There was something pushing you for that. Yeah. Something more meaningful.
Yeah, I just had to. It wasn't a question. But when I went to college, I had no idea what I was going to be. And I also had no idea like how you even fill out classes and things like that.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
You didn't really have anybody to show you or help you out with that?
I don't know, like all my friends, like, so a lot of my friends were Filipino, and their parents were like, oh, you need to be a nurse, you need to be an engineer, like that's just kind of their thing. And my dad was always like, just do whatever makes you happy. And I don't know if that's really like the ideal thing.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't even understand like counselors, that I should go see one or whatever. And then when I went to state, like they just give you a book. And it says pick classes, three from here.
It's pretty complicated.
And then I had no idea, like I didn't understand like I shouldn't take all the fun classes. So I took like stupid stuff. I took bowling. I took classes that I thought were like easy but ended up being hard.
There's a bowling class?
At SDSU there was, yeah.
That's a trick.
Like how to take score, and, you know. And like needless to say, I got an A.
Okay.
I got an A in it.
And bowling?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at scoring.
Okay.
But I took like astronomy, and I had no idea astronomy was hard. You know? And then probably your question will be why I didn't do graphic design.
Well, no, I have another question for you.
Okay.
So, how old were you when you were getting into college?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I was 18 when I went to San Diego State, and then I was there for I think a year and a half.
Okay.
And then I took a leave of absence to go work,
Okay.
and then I came back.
So your dad told you to do what made you happy
Yeah.
when you were going into college.
Yes.
What made you happy at that age? What were you doing?
Man, honestly, like we had nice cars.
Uh huh.
And,
What car did you have?
I had a turbocharged Civic.
Okay.
And well, no, at that time, I might have had a Sentra, like with nitrous and everything.
The whole.
Yeah, we used to
The
like
whole
so
enchilada?
like every I don't know if it was Friday night or Saturday night. I don't remember now. It's so long ago, but I think Saturday night we would go to the street races
Okay.
and we would do illegal drag racing. And I mean, it sounds kind of ridiculous now. Like, does that even happen? But back in the day, it's like I mean, hundreds and hundreds of cars. Like we would meet up at Plaza Bonita, and there would be like seriously 200 cars there. It would look like Plaza Bonita was open at midnight, right? And then
So like sort of like in Fast and Furious. where the
yeah, we would
cars
all
are
get on the
around.
freeway.
That's
And
crazy.
then head up north to Mira Mesa, where there's another 500 cars, and then there were like probably 3 to 4 illegal racetracks. I call them racetracks, but these are just streets.
It was just normal streets.
Like business center streets, right?
Oh my god.
And everyone would go there, and then you would race. The cops would come, and then you would go see other racers. Like, hey, where's everyone at? Oh, they're down at Kearney now. So then we'd all like go there, backtrack to here.
So did you race?
Oh yeah.
Were you any good?
It wasn't really like, are you good? I mean,
It was just for
it's
fun.
more of like how fast your car is.
So did you win anything? Any pink slips or any money or anything?
No, we didn't race like that because, like, there were people that raced like that. But back in that time too, there was a lot of gangs, and
Okay.
it's kind of scary. So you just race and then take off. Like, people want to fight and like,
Yeah.
what do you have under there and stuff like that. But we were just
You were just racing for fun.
yeah.
Okay. So that brings me into my next question. Did anything from your youth, this racing stuff, going to college, all of that, did any of that inspire where you are now, like with Human Catalyst? Like working on clothes or doing graphic design or anything like that?
Definitely. So when I look back, so when I was in San Diego, I think San Diego was kind of notorious for being not necessarily like behind, but LA has kind of always been where like the future is.
Yeah.
They're always like 1 to 2 steps ahead. I don't know necessarily now with the internet, but before you would be able to go to LA and then kind of like copy that style,
Yeah.
come back down here,
And nobody would know.
and then flex on people like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't know? This is like LA. We wear this kind of stuff. So I was kind of like blown away by that. So when I went to LA and worked, I mean, so I worked at a big manufacturer of like import parts. And back in that time, this was like before Fast and the Furious. So it wasn't as like culture vultured at that time. So a lot of these companies were actually like street racers, started a company, and then started making millions of dollars. And all the people working in the places were all cool people.
They were all racers.
They were all racers.
Okay.
And it was a very authentic industry at that time. So when I went there, like I saw cars that they didn't have down here. And then back in the days, people would have like car crews. They still do.
Yeah.
But it was like a lot bigger, and like your car crew sticker had to be really cool. So then I was always interested in that. Do you know what I mean?
the design
the
of-
design of that.
Oh, okay. I
And
see what you
then
mean.
when you go to like car events, you need like your car club, cool clothes and stuff. And then I would design that. And I've always been into that. But at like outside of my car, we were always into like, I grew up skateboarding. You know what I mean? So that's always been a huge influence. And I think they all like, especially 90s, like it's all parallel. Like the skateboarding culture, the car culture.
Yeah.
It really was like California lifestyle. So I was able to see all of it. So like I knew a lot of the streetwear brands before they were actually like streetwear brands.
So like what? Give me some examples.
Like, man, like going back, you know, I remember like a good one is like Us versus Them. That was maybe a little bit later, but like I knew Us versus Them when the guy that started it, like he was the manager at Active.
Okay.
And he was just a really good dude. Like, and me and my friend, we had this little brand that we started too, and like we would go there and give them shirts.
What was
and,
it called?
It's called Pixel People.
Pixel People.
PXL PPL.
Okay.
So, I started that, and it was more like a hobby. So, the only big streetwear brand at the time, I think, that was really like making moves, was really like Shepherd Ferry,
like Obey. Okay.
I mean, there were other things. Like, there's always been other like streetwear brands, I guess, but they were more like urban or hip hop. I mean, I'm not talking like Cross Colors or like Mecca or that kind of stuff. Like, more clothes that other people could wear.
So what year was this when all this stuff started popping off? It was in the 90s?
I would say late 90s.
Okay.
Is when it started to become a reality of like you can do clothes, like you could do t-shirts. I mean, people have always done t-shirts, and I've seen like brands, but they were more like surf related. They didn't have the same edginess, I guess. It was more like, I'm gonna make a brand and I'm gonna make a knockoff of like Stussy kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people did. And then when you saw something like Obey, where it's like, man, he's doing like kind of like a graffiti type feel.
Yeah, I mean, that's how he started.
But in a very structured way. Like, I've never seen Wheat Paste until I saw Shepherd Ferry.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy crap, what is that? And then, I don't know if people noticed, like, I have a Kinsey. And Kinsey was definitely like very influential to, like, my appreciation of like street art and street culture. So Kinsey was drawing these like no-eyed figures, and he was partners with Shepherd Ferry. So these guys were like really blowing up, you know. And at the time, people were still approachable. I was starting a streetwear brand, and like I emailed Johnny Cupcakes. So like Johnny Cupcakes was like, or there's a site called Super Future, and he was like, hey guys, I'm starting this brand, and it's like cupcake related. Check it out. What do you guys think? It's very similar to like streetwear Reddit. Streetwear startup Reddit.
Streetwear startup, yeah.
Imagine like Johnny Cupcakes at the time, and then he's like, check this out. I think it could be really cool. And then he had like a bathing ape, but with a cupcake. And I was blown away because most people didn't even know Bape at the time. I mean, because I was like really into street fashion and like street culture kind of stuff. I was aware of Bape, but not even like to the point now, you know, like
where it's really blown up. It's like really out there.
Where like Nigo's now like a household name. You know what I mean? But before it was like, I think it's some Japanese guy, and I don't even know what it is, but I'm gonna pretend that I do. You know what I mean?
Cool, yeah. So you're hanging out in the '90s, racing cars. You're getting into clothes, getting into streetwear, getting into street art, all of this. Like what happened next? Like, you know, you were into cars, into all this stuff. Like, how did you get into like working in this? You know, what were the first steps?
I was into cars, and that was like the main thing. And then, so the car business was pretty lucrative, so I actually had a decent paycheck. So my hobby though was like to mess around on Photoshop.
What were you doing in the car business though?
I was working in a warehouse at first. But then I was also helping with like marketing. It's kind of like you just wore multiple hats, you know? And also like with our car crew. So one thing, this is probably the biggest thing. In the car business, like stickers are a big deal. Like people put stickers all over their cars. And the company I worked for, they bought this sticker machine. And with that sticker machine, I learned how to make vector art.
Okay.
Because the sticker machine cuts out shapes and whatever. So shout out Marco. But this guy Marco, he would do all the ads for this company. And when I got the sticker machine, it said that you had to use programs like what was it? I don't even know right now because I only use Illustrator, but Corel.
Yeah.
It said Corel or Illustrator, right? And I was like, what the hell is that? I have Photoshop.
Yeah.
And then I also have like MS Paint and
The OG.
Print Shop Deluxe, you know?
Print Shop Deluxe.
So Marco, he was a professional graphic designer, and he goes, I could show you how to use Illustrator to make the machine work. So he showed me how to do it, and then I saw that you could make like a triangle, connect it with a square, merge them together, now you have a shape. And I was like, whoa. So you could probably do this and that. So like I locked myself in a room and ended up learning how to use this this sticker machine to cut our logo.
Yeah.
But also how I can do other stuff on the side. So I started doing like my crew's logo. I started learning like, I made like anime stickers, like all in layers and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just kind of a crackhead because I wasn't really, I was self-taught. So
you were just going crazy with it.
I didn't have any restrictions on like, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know better.
Because you weren't taught graphic design. You were taught how to use this thing and you just went wild with it.
Yeah, I just like whatever my imagination could do. And I had the freedom of not relying on a paycheck for developing those skills.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big difference. Like it wasn't like, man, if I don't do a good job at this, I'm not gonna be able to eat. You know, like that's kind of
it was just fun.
It was fun.
So this sticker machine gets there, and this is kind of how graphic design landed in your lap. Like all of a sudden, you had to figure out how to use this machine.
Yeah. So ultimately, from that point, I started getting pretty good at Illustrator, and then with Illustrator, I started being able to replicate like Shepard's work. You know, I started being able to do things that other people were paying a lot of money for. So even like race cars and stuff, like I figured out a way how to make like the full-on graphics and stuff. And it had to do with like me just figuring it out. Like, so I would draw a schematic of a car, and then I would draw the graphics on it.
Okay.
And then like scale it to the actual size of the car. And then I started making like show cars.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, but I didn't really know, you know what I mean?
Like you were just doing your thing.
Yeah, I was just some like jackass kid with a stick machine, you know?
Yeah, so you never studied anything properly for graphic design.
No, I would just like, at the time I would lock myself in a room and with a book, and then I would just learn everything I could.
So what came next after working on these cars and, you know, getting pretty good at this graphic design stuff?
So I think at that point I started to pixel people. And I started a few brands like before that, and they were just like with the concept of that street art. So a lot of people are putting stickers everywhere, and wheat paste and all that stuff. But it's like, I want to do that, but what do you wheat paste? Like, I don't like, I can't put my name. And I came from a time where like I would do graffiti, so like I didn't see it the same way as like tagging on a wall. You know, like tagging on the wall, like cops are gonna come and
it's just like trouble,
whatever. But stickers and that kind of stuff was so new that I don't think that like I didn't even know if it was illegal to like put stickers up. So at that time, I needed something that I could put up. So I put up like I think at the time I started a thing called Textiles. It was like technical styles, right? And then it was like a clothing brand that didn't even exist. Actually, I could take it back like one step further.
Okay.
I started a brand with like 6 of my friends, and it was called Network. And I would say that was the start of it. So we had this thought, dude, why don't we start our own brand? I had a screen printing thing, and we basically had a screen. I didn't know how to make emulsion and like the proper way to do it, so I cut a sticker in reverse, and made a stencil.
Okay. And
I
then you
stuck
screen printed that?
I screen printed that.
Okay.
So I blocked out the image and I did that. And it was pretty cool. We had 6 friends and we had these 6 army men. So like one like this, one like that, and then guy with like a rocket, all this stuff. And it's actually a pretty cool design.
Okay. So for those of you who have never been to the store, there's a glass case full of army men.
Yeah, and that's probably where it stems from.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like there's these little nods to your previous work in the store.
I would suppose now that you mentioned that, that's
Yeah.
probably why. I'm so fascinated with it.
Yeah.
That's definitely like, I would say, I've never even thought about it, but that's probably the starting point.
Yeah.
But what happened to us is we had a messed up start because I made these shirts and it said 6 degrees of separation. And I didn't spell check or anything. And then my friend's girlfriend, she
What did
was
it
pretty
say?
smart, and she goes, "You didn't even spell separate right." Right? And I was like, "What?" Because it was network, 6 degrees of separation, and we thought we can like connect to everyone in the world. Right?
Yeah.
Great concept. But,
okay. Yeah.
but
You were
we
ahead of your
spelled
time.
separation wrong.
It was separe instead of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PER.
Uh-huh.
So like I never get that wrong now. But
It's been ingrained.
yeah, so like
Okay.
because of that, we made like all these shirts and they all had typos. And whoever has one, if you still have one, it has a typo, you know?
You could just say it was a creative choice. You were taking creative freedom.
yeah,
Creative
but like,
liberty.
we gave them out, like,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
thought
yeah.
we were so cool.
Yeah.
And we had like a screen, one person, like 2 people held it down, one person like put the ink, and then like, okay, lift it, how'd it come out? Like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of screen printers cringing right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
All your screen printer friends are cringing.
I'm sure, but I
Yeah.
think that's like how you start, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really like a dream. And then you realize going in business with 6 people, it's never going to work.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, it can work if you're Wu-Tang Clan or
If
something,
there's
but
real
it's
real
like,
side, yeah.
you know, let's say you sell a $20 shirt, and then it's like, okay, now let's divide this minus the cost of whatever. Okay, here's $1.50.
Yeah, you don't.
You know,
get
some
much.
people care, some people don't care. It's a mess, you know? So network came and started and fell, and I was like, I still want to do this though.
Yeah.
So I started a brand called Pixel People.
Okay.
And Pixel People is pretty cool. Like, I felt like as an artist, I could just make whatever I wanted to. I wasn't a slave to like the dollar. So I feel that my art was very like open to just do whatever I wanted to do.
What happened with Pixel People? How did that end?
Pixel People really ended because I think at the time I was young. It was also like I had a few friends that were involved in it, and then it became like almost like a job, and it was like, this is my brand, but I'm working for them.
Yeah.
You know, and like some of them would get more shine from the brand, and I was just kind of the guy behind the computer.
Yeah.
So
you were
like,
doing a lot of the work, but
a lot
not
of people were wearing Pixel People, but had no idea that I
Yeah.
had anything to do with Pixel People. And as much as I didn't want to be like that guy, I think something inside of me actually did.
Yeah, the humanity. It's just.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it didn't end well necessarily, but it was also like I gotta kind of like, I gotta buy another car. I have a real job. You know what I mean? Like, I need to make real money. And I was getting paid through cars, not through these T-shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a hobby, you know. But at the time, like at the time when I was there, like, this was like pre-hundreds. This is like pre-everything.
Pre all the big guys right now, or the big guys that came after that.
Yeah, I mean, the only huge brand at the time that was like super like inspirational, I guess. I mean, there was like DC and Drawers and stuff like that, and like skate brands, but the other one that was big was like LRG, Obey, things like that. Like,
those are the big players.
yeah, I mean, they were the ones making the most noise.
Was it a thing for people to start streetwear brands at this time? Like, was that popular as much as it is now, where everyone wants to make T-shirts?
There were a few people, but like some of them made it really big. But like you would hear about one person doing something up in Mira Mesa or like north of the 8,
Yeah.
and one guy doing it like south of the 8, one guy in National City. Like, like the map was so much more spread out. Like people stayed in their own area, so like you can be the kingpin of your
little village,
Yeah.
your little town.
Yeah. So I don't think that like the concept of, you know, a bunch of people,
Like making it really big. That wasn't a thing yet.
I don't think that existed, and it was unrealistic. Yeah, it's just I don't think at that particular time that even happened. You know, like I always tell the same story, but like LRG, my friend's brother was a DJ, and he ended up meeting LRG while going to school up in LA or Irvine, and his stuff was pretty cool. Like it was like technical stuff, and we went to a warehouse sale, and it was a bay door and like a 10 by 10 box of like just clothes, and a guy with like a school desk and like 3 boxes like hats, shirts, sweatshirts, and there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And we're like, is this LRG? And he's like, yeah, check it out.
It was just some like warehouse
It's like
thing.
nothing, right?
Yeah.
And to us, we were like, oh man, that's some like, that's some futuristic stuff. Like, and then we're gonna go up there and then come down and flex, you know?
Yeah. But because you went to LA to check
Went
out
to Irvine to,
to
or
check out
Santa Ana to like go to the warehouse sale.
to check out LA.
That nobody was at. Like,
Yeah.
like nobody knew what LRG was at the time. And then we went, we got some stuff, we got some like camp hats, and like, damn, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like a year later, I mean, that was wrapped around the block.
LRG.
So yeah, like, you know, at that time there was opportunity to like it's like the gold mine, but it didn't exist. Like there was no foundation for these companies, but people wanted it. Apparently, they just didn't know about it. Now, I think the game is just way different.
So you were saying that LRG was wrapped around the block, warehouse sale, 1 year after you figured, like you discovered it.
Yeah. So one thing, like for me, when we discovered it and we drove up to LRG, it was crazy because all the street signs in the area, they all had like LRG slaps, like everywhere.
Yeah.
And the one thing that was different about these guys is like most people, I think it's true in most cases. Like if you're gonna start something, most people don't believe in it enough to like invest. So, well, shout out the person that like tagged this little stupid sticker on
there's
the window.
a sticker on the window.
But it's like a UPS sticker or a post office
A
sticker.
proper slap.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? I could make that, and it cost me nothing because it means nothing to me,
Yeah.
right? But it's like drop $100 and get a real sticker, you know?
If it really matters to you.
If it really matters to you. And I think a lot of people have the concept like, oh, I'm gonna try to make something and it's gonna be as cheap as possible. I'm gonna go to Kinko's and
Just get something made real quick.
Yeah. So when I noticed like LRG, they had these like screen printed stickers, very similar to like the surf industry, but it didn't say Billabong and like Rip Curl. And these were big. I mean, they were like big stickers that they would slap everywhere, and they were full color. Like
That's crazy. So they were taking it real seriously.
they branded their neighborhood, yeah. And
That's insane.
everywhere you'd go, you knew like you were within their domain.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's amazing. Because it was like a little graffiti-ish. I mean, imagine if you could tag your name, but it was always in the font you chose, like a signature.
It would just always look primo, yeah.
And that's when they did that, it kind of opened my eyes, like, oh damn, like maybe we should take this like a step further.
Yeah, it's like changing your mentality to it's like taking it more seriously, which a lot of people think is lame, but taking things seriously is it takes you to the next level.
I think they think it's lame because they're scared.
Yeah.
Most people say the floss is lame because honestly, it's pretty hard. You know what I mean? Like, like when you try to do it, like everyone has attempted to do it.
Yeah.
And you kind of look stupid. And then when you see someone do it good, and you're like, oh, it's
kind of difficult to do.
that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So I think for most people, they say it's lame because they're honestly too scared to attempt to try it because they're going to look dumb if they fail.
Yeah.
So if you have a $5 investment on these Xerox fees that you're paying to Kinko's for your USPS slaps or whatever, the investment, you lost $5, like big deal, right? But if you drop like $400 on all these die cut stickers and you're gonna go bombard the town,
You really got to believe in what you're
you
doing.
gotta believe in your art,
Yeah.
and you're spending like real money that you can buy real things with. You could have bought Jordans, you could have bought
Pizza.
pizza, whatever, you know, whatever girls are into, or you know, like,
Yeah.
but instead you invested in yourself. Now, that's hard to do.
It is hard to do. It's a lot of people are scared to do that.
Yeah, so I think, I think at the end of the day, that's where the lameness comes. Like,
It's
or-
fear.
Yeah, it's fear. I used to be like that too. Like, and I think that's what prevented me from really like gold mining pixel people, because I was at the right time, in the right place
To make it big.
to make it big. I had the right
Yeah.
connections. Me and my friend Randy, like shout out Randy,
Shout out Randy.
we were in the right place to be, like, I don't want to mention names, but like we were in the right zone to be bigger than,
A lot of people.
like, I would have, had I kept on that path, like we would have been pioneers in the industry.
You would have been the Nego, the James Jebbia, the Shepherd.
I don't know about that, but I think so. Based on the time.
Okay.
Based on the time and the amount of influential people that I knew without knowing that they were going to be huge. Like I said, like, you know, we were like really cool with the dude that started Us Versus Them, like, and we were before him. Do you know what I mean? And he kind of like I remember one conversation I had, and he goes, like, he started a store, and it was called Us Versus Them, and he goes, like, man, we need to come out with a logo. Like, how did you, like, that's pretty cool. Like, you have your own logo, because I had this like swan. It was like a crane, like a, you know, and I said, I don't know, I just make that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if he would remember that conversation, but like that was cool to him. And then like a year later, he makes the machete and the palm tree, and now there's people with tattoos of that on their bodies. Like, so I would say like I think we were so early in it that we had a chance to make it, and it didn't even matter about being good. It's just because there was no competition.
Yeah.
You know, but I was a pussy and I didn't do it. Like, I was scared, you know?
Yeah. So what eventually led you to start HC? Like, where did you lose that fear, or, you know?
So you got to fast forward a lot of times. So, I kind of, after I stopped Pixel People, I thought my time with that was done.
You thought streetwear was done. That was it.
Not that streetwear was done. It's just like I missed the boat, and I lived in like sadness, regret. Every time I saw like these people like blowing up,
You thought that could have been me.
yeah, like as I became a Us Versus Them customer, I was like, damn, dude, like now I'm buying shit from them.
When it could have been
and
you.
now I see it on the street and like all these people, and like, damn, like I really messed up, you know. And I don't know if they would want my stuff the same way that people want that.
There's just no way to know now.
There's no way to know, so you always just regret. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things. What's that movie, like Ace Ventura or something? Like he kicks the football, like laces out. You know what I mean? Like or laces in, whatever the hell they say. It's kind of like that. You just always replay it, like, damn, because I'm like an old man. Like I'll tell the same stories. Like, dude, I remember like emailing Johnny Cupcakes, and now I watch videos on YouTube about Johnny Cupcakes. Like, like that guy believed in himself, and even put himself out on this website to say, look at my crap.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
And there were trolls back then, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they could have been like, dude, your shit's about cupcakes?
That's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, like cupcakes, you know what I mean? And look at that. He built an empire, right?
Oh yeah, he's a household name for the most part now.
Yeah, and if you look at all those people, if you notice, they're all connected to other people in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But all those people in the industry, they were all the same people on Nike Talk and all these forums, like Hypebeast forums. Like,
Yeah, they were all small at one point.
they were all small.
Mhm.
And there was no big fish because they didn't exist.
Mhm.
So they all know each other because, oh, you're, you know, you're 23 Ranger or something. You know what I mean?
On
like,
Nike Talk,
Yeah, on
yeah.
Nike Talk. Like,
On
I was
KTT,
fired
yeah.
up. Yeah, I'm like, I'm Pippin 143. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so it's crazy. And then, like, with the dunk, like Nike dunks and everything,
Mhm.
like, people were well connected. It was just different back then.
Yeah.
You knew, like, if someone was onto something.
It was more tight. What is it? Tight knit. It was more of a tight knit community. back
Yeah,
then,
it was more of a tight knit community. So, you know, I guess that doesn't really explain the answer to the question. But
Yeah.
like, I guess what happened to me is like I just lived in regret, and I became a consumer.
Mhm. You weren't creating
And
anymore.
I was still creating, but I was doing magazine ads, and I was building like graphics for like packaging. That was still really cool. Like the import car market, it was still cool. Like they had the big parties and they had big money, and
But it wasn't exactly what you wanted.
yeah, I mean, working in the car market. So before I worked in the car market, I was a fan of cars. After working in the car market, I didn't care. Like,
Because it was a job now. You were working.
yeah, like you'll see a Ferrari, I'm like, dude, it's just a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And it loses the luster. And that was really sad for me.
Yeah, I bet.
So I just became a worker. And again, like my passion was like I was into sneakers and stuff, but also when you work and you move away from home, now you have an apartment, now you have car bill, things like that. And I couldn't really live the life of like being a hype beast. You know?
You had bills to pay.
I had bills to pay. So
Yeah.
the reality of it is like I knew all about everything, but I didn't have the flex power. Like
You couldn't afford that
I couldn't
stuff.
afford it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just like gave up on all that. So I thought that I'll just become like a normal person. You know, I started shopping at like Old Navy and Gap, and you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I just was like a normal person. You know.
You were done with it, so to speak.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a time that passed in my life, and now I need to start looking for like a wife. I should probably have kids. You know what I mean?
You were just
Like,
continuing that path.
it's just like in your brain what you think you're supposed to do. Like, bro, I'm 25. Like my life is over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty much 40.
I'm 21 and I feel like that.
Yeah. So you're thinking like, what the hell's next, right?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like people, my friends started getting real jobs. So it's just life started changing, and like,
Yeah.
like some of them had babies, and it was like, yeah, dude, I'm done with this. Like, I'm not cool anymore. So I still worked in the car industry, things like that, and then Fast and Furious came out, the car industry tanked.
Really?
Yeah, because like they just culture vultured it, and it just like
It wasn't cool anymore to be in that.
they destroyed it. Like it just made it cornball. Like the cars became corny. Like
Yeah.
it just blew up way too big. And
The bubble burst.
the bubble burst. So after that, I ended up working at a clothing company that would make clothes for. They would make clothes for like all these retail stores, like big stores, like Anchor Blue and things like that.
Okay.
And I was designing streetwear looking graphics for basic
Like fast fashion.
Fast fashion. So and like there were also companies like Kenneth Cole, DKNY, things like that that appreciated like the street look, or can you make an affliction type shirt,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
and if you know Photoshop and Illustrator, whether it's cars, horses, switching faces of your friends, like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like you know the fundamentals, so you can switch. Like you can do something else
Yeah.
as long as you know the programs. So I started doing shirts like that, and I started making shirts for girls with like geometric patterns. And,
Yeah.
it was cool. But at that point too, then there was like the stock market crash.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like
In
the stock
2009?
market. I want to say it's
2008.
was it 2009? I don't know. Something happened, right? Like
So what happened to you then? Like, what was going on?
so the stock market crashed, and like honestly, I stayed at this company for a while. They tried to stay afloat, but dude, like these big companies were disappearing. Like people were running out of money, and jobs didn't exist. Like there's so many people that got laid off during that time and have never recovered. Like
That's tough.
people that were doing real estate and now they're driving Uber. Like people that were doing commercial banking and now, they're telemarketing or something. Like people just got screwed up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like I lasted a long time, but I ultimately became one of those people. So I don't know. I always tell the story. Like I ended up moving back to San Diego, and I got married, and I was gonna have a baby, and I was at my ultrasound for my daughter, and when I looked at the screen, I got a call from New York. So I worked for a company in New York. And I got the phone call. Said hello. I said to my wife, like, I got to take this. It's my work. So I said, hey, how's it going, Ryan? They said, hey, I'm just letting you know, like, that it's been really tough, and you're gonna get laid off. We're shutting down the business, but you have severance for like 2 weeks, or And I was like, looking at the screen.
That's harsh.
Of my daughter, like
That's harsh.
little jelly bean like moving around and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, right?
I mean, what could you do with that?
Yeah, and then my wife is like, oh, look at the screen, right? And I was
You're
like,
just
oh
like,
yeah, it's gonna be all good.
Oh my god.
So that happened, and honestly, like my stomach just like sank.
Yeah.
And
That must have been real tough.
yeah, and at that point, I just realized, man, I don't know what to do with myself, and I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I guess even like going back a little bit, I would do freelance work for some people. And one of the people that I came across is this dude, Jason. And Jason had this brand called Marquisa. And Marquisa was like, so what happened was I worked in the car market before, and I met Jason through there.
Okay.
And then Jason knew that I had ties to like streetwear. I worked at a streetwear brand prior. I think I missed that part, but Jason knew I worked there, so like Jason was starting this brand. He goes, hey, you think you could look at my stuff? And I was so inspired by it. I was like, dude, this is hard. Like, this is amazing. I was inspired by like his drive, his skills, basically the brand that he made.
Yeah.
It didn't exist yet. And he goes, do you think you could do some art for me or something? And I was like, oh, hell yeah,
And this was at the time when you lost your job.
This was before.
Okay,
This is before I lost my job, and I was working in the car market. And I started doing stuff for them. And then like their brand finally came out. He sent me this big package. And I think when I got it and I saw like the art come to life.
That you made?
At the time I didn't make any of that stuff. But I was so blown away. So at that point it like opened this like scar that I had of like shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
And I feel like Marquisa like cut that scar, and now I had the shoulda, woulda, coulda again.
Of like making clothes, of doing the streetwear stuff.
And it's like for Marquisa, I mean, he was in LA, and he already had partners and stuff. And honestly, like I had to survive, so I wasn't really able to be a part of Marquisa in a sense of like
Investing your time,
making
and
money.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like I couldn't live. That was their thing. That was their dream,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of like didn't assist. You know,
You
like,
didn't want to coattail off of that.
I don't even think it was an opportunity. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But yeah, like shout out Marquisa. I think it was like so inspiring, and I like I'm so grateful for cutting that wound.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So then when I started doing stuff for the clothing brand or for the fast fashion stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like it was just always in my head. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like damn, I got the kind of itch to like do this. I'm making stuff that looks like Crooks. I'm making stuff that looks like
Mm-hmm.
whoever else, Diamond. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of crap. Like,
You felt like you could make your own stuff.
so yeah, when I got laid off, I was like, what the hell am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I thought to myself, I'm gonna go be a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied to all these jobs, but you know what? Like
That was your first impulse?
that was my first impulse because I gotta take care of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did, I realized that all of these jobs don't care about cool jobs. So like, if you were to show a graphic, or if you were to show a graphic designer for iPhone apps that you can do car ads and stuff, they're like, yeah, but we don't do cars, we do phones.
We do apps, and so it
So
it
it's
doesn't
like they
transition.
can't understand like if you could do that, you could do this.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like I couldn't get a job to save my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was skills or I don't know if it was just honestly like people didn't have money.
Mm-hmm.
Graphic designers, I think, basically died during that time.
It
because-
wasn't sought after.
Well, no, because people were using old art and they were going to Kinko's, and websites were developing these things like templates where, you know, submit your logo and like people were willing to do stuff that no one else would do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even know how to explain that to people, but there was a point in time like you would pay for a service. Let's say you go to McDonald's and like I want to buy a hamburger. But they're like, hey, don't go to McDonald's, come to Burger King. We'll give you a hamburger, we'll give you a soda, we'll give you fries, we'll buy something for your friend and your grandma, right?
Yeah.
All for the same price. So it's like, dude, you're not doing it the way that you're supposed to. So now they're doing graphic design stuff for $10.
Yeah.
You know, Craigslist, all these guys like, we'll graphic design your website, $10 an hour. And it's like, they just,
It got devalued.
oh, they like, yeah, they devalued the crap out of everything. So I just became worthless in a sense. So like I was sitting there thinking like, while I'm sending out these resumes, I'm gonna think about making my own stuff. And at least if I sell a couple shirts here and there, maybe that will help take my family out to dinner and
Yeah, buy some food.
you know,
Yeah.
while there's unemployment and stuff like that, right? And I was doing these like freelance jobs, and I was just kind of like trying to survive, like doggy paddling. So
Barely staying afloat, kind of.
just miracles, man. Like honestly, I don't even know how I survived through that. But then I started HC, and when I started HC, I think that like people that I knew from the past were like, "Oh, dude, that's pretty dope. I'll support you." And I had a lot of friends and family that kind of believed in me,
Yeah.
more so than I could even believe in myself. To tell you the truth, like I felt worthless.
Yeah.
I've never felt like as shitty as like that particular time in my life. Like I couldn't get a job, and it's like I was doing magazine ads and stuff. Like I was like a graphic designer getting paid, and now I'm thinking about, you know, like shout out everyone who has a job. I'm not trying to knock your job, but it's like I'm like a salary paid designer, and I'm looking at jobs thinking I'm gonna work graveyard shift at FedEx, Kinko's, making your Xerox copies.
Yeah, like you were at 100 and then you dropped to 0, like that.
Yeah, and like willing to work at 10. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just feel like so shitty, dude.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So at that time, I started HC, and
That was kind of your.
It was kind of like I didn't even know, but what choice did I have?
Yeah, you had nothing to lose at this point.
I had nothing to lose, and I believed in myself that like I'm good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I just need people to believe it, and I started listening to all these like interviews with like reading interviews with Benny Gold, Johnny Cupcakes, things like that, and shout out all of them for selling the dream.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But I should have tapped out like many times along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But just something in me
Mm-hmm.
is like, dude, like you can make it.
So do you think it took, these failures and then losing your job for you to lose that fear to just go all in? Like, is that what it took for you?
No, even at that point, honestly, like I really give most of the credit to my wife.
Okay.
Because I don't think I ever believed in myself.
Mm-hmm.
And she believed in me.
Yeah.
And she saw what I did, and she saw my portfolio and stuff like that. And she was so like supportive that like what I was doing was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she was lying to me.
Just to make you feel better?
Yeah, but
I mean, it worked. It paid off in the end, right?
yeah, it did. But I mean, she was my number one fan,
That's awesome.
and that honestly like gave me the power to even attempt it.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't mad that I lost my job. She was just supportive. She was like, like in those rap videos, dude, like those drug dealer wives. You know what I mean? That
They
were, like,
stay by your side?
Yeah. Then like they'll go to jail for you and stuff. Like that guy's daughter. You know that like dressed up or gave him the one who escaped. Did you? See
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that. You know, like she's just down and.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely helped me survive.
So not to quote Fast and Furious or anything, but she was your ride or die.
I don't know. Is that what they say in the movie?
I think so. Yeah,
probably. Like she definitely was. So then, like with that, she was like, just focus on it, and if you're gonna do it, really do it. And she's been saying the same crap for like 8 years, and I don't know. Like I still don't even think that I've honestly gone in 100. Like it's still scary. Like anyone that does art, like I don't know, you always hear that thing, fake it till you make it. But like when you put your art out there, it's available for critique. And you got to be like thick-skinned to be able to take it.
Yeah, you got to be willing to take it.
So like there's people that are gonna say like, dude, that's whack, like I'm not feeling it.
You got to believe in what you're doing.
And you're like, no, this is dope. Like, and I've always had this thought where like, I've seen crap. I've seen brands come and go, and I've seen some really crappy brands sell a lot. And I think the difference between all of it wasn't really the art. The art is subjective and nobody really cares, but it's really like if people believe in it and they tell you it's dope, eventually if they bother you enough, you're gonna say like, oh, okay, yeah, I like it. Right? Because the color is blue and it reminds me of your grandma's eyes that were blue. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it had nothing to do with the art, which is a trip. So along the way, I've learned a lot. I've also attempted a lot and failed. It's like a crazy ride, man. But yeah, like going back to the things like Benny Gold, Johnny Cupcakes, I think those are like almost like anomalies. You know what I mean? But to a streetwear creative, it's like, no, like it's possible. So I started thinking, the first thing that happened to me was I was thinking, if a brand like Benny Gold can hire 12 people, right? And those 12 people were getting paid at least $25,000. And I was like doing the math and thinking, well, that means like they got to be making X amount.
Yeah.
So if I just do 10% of that, I should be good. Like really, it was just do or die and just really believing in yourself and trying to figure that out. But like when I did the math, I thought it was gonna be way easier. Like I told my wife, I'm gonna sell. I think if I sell 50 shirts a month, and then I can increase people by like 10%. By the time I sell 250 shirts a month, then multiply that by whatever. And
you were really reaching it. Like you were being very, very hopeful at this point.
no, like honestly, I kind of based it off like Benny Gold.
Okay.
And like Crooks and stuff like that. And I was thinking, if I could just do 10%, 5%, that would be amazing. So I guess it's like, as a recording artist, it's like those anomalies like Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande or something, and you're like, if I could do 10% of her spins,
I could be okay.
I could be okay.
Yeah.
But you don't realize like how hard it is to even get to the like 10%.
It's very difficult.
You know what I mean? Like you're like a 0.0001. Not you, just in general. Like you can probably get 0.0001.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
To get 10%, like you need to work your ass off to even get 10%. So shout out all those people, like the Hundreds, Benny Gold,
that made it.
Johnny Cupcake.
It takes a lot of work.
People that are all surviving. Shout out the Fresh Yard, 5 and a Dime. Yeah, like they've made something that is meant to fail. Do you know what I mean? Like,
the odds are against you.
The odds are totally against you. And especially streetwear. It's cool, but out of 100 people that you see at a store, 99 of them don't want your stuff. You're really going after one person that does.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that one person thinks it's really cool, but you're competing with 100 other people that they also think are cool.
And you're hoping to make it so big that 1% is huge, right?
Yeah. that one person out of 100. And it's like, that's really stupid. When someone else makes a corny brand and they're getting 15 people out of the 100.
And you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, because it says like tortillas or, you know what I mean? Like Taco Tuesday. Like some, right?
Yeah, something stupid.
Yeah, and it's like, that person's killing it. That person is the one with like the Mercedes and taking care of their family and making these stupid shirts.
I mean, just like you can make more money starting a Toyota dealership than a Lamborghini dealership.
Probably.
Yeah, because people want to buy Toyotas more than they want to buy a Lamborghini. Well, maybe not. Like Toyotas sell more than a Lamborghini does.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like the Lamborghini's like so much cooler.
Like you want to be a Lamborghini dealership, but there's not as much money as you think in it.
Yeah. It's like you're lucky to sell one every
month.
You know.
So at this point, you have nothing to lose. You know where we were. You lost your job. You're about to have a child.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. You start HC because you have nothing better. What does HC mean to you at the start? Like at this point, at the very beginning, what does HC mean to you?
To me, HC was like, this is my last chance to attempt what I failed at before. So it was my last chance to try to do the dream again.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like getting a second chance at life. But at the same time, like I said, it's hard. The stakes are different.
Yeah.
I had to really make it work. Before, I had the freedom of like not caring.
Yeah.
And that really messed me up. And also the difference with my mindset working for other people and realizing how the industry works and like unoriginal art and things like that and what's deemed okay and the commercialism of it.
Yeah.
That really screwed me up too. But HC was my chance to do everything that like my way. So when I worked for these other companies, I didn't like how they did stuff. Like I didn't like being told like, make something that looks like Affliction. And then you do something kind of, and it's like, no, pretty much make it
Affliction with a different name.
Change the name.
Yeah.
Or spell it wrong. You know, and it's like, that's really whack. Like
that is whack.
But that's what sells. And I think that really like hurt my passion for it. So then with HC, I was able to do it my way.
Yeah.
And my way meant I'm just gonna carve out my own kind of path, you know. I've always been inspired by like vector work, clean art, and I just kind of like traveled down that path, you know. So yeah, like definitely HC was like a phoenix, like rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
And this is my last chance. So I don't honestly think there is beyond HC necessarily. Like this is what I'm attempting to do.
This is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay.
There's not like, oh, after I do that, I'm gonna start being a videographer. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea.
Because you did get a second chance, so you're like, I have to really make this work now.
I have to make this work now, but the biggest difference between now and then is like the time. I'm not in the same position. I'm not in a gold mine. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like before, when I started Pixel People, like I was in the right place at the right time. Now I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. So
it's a lot harder now.
The game is just so much harder.
Yeah.
Instagram life is hard. You're competing with like people all over the world.
It's not just your city anymore.
No, it's not just your city. It's not even people that know you. And community doesn't really have as much of a strength as it used to. So I guess like fast forward a few years, HC, so when I started HC, like I was selling things, people were meeting up at my house, I was meeting people, it was like super sketchy.
Yeah.
And I always hated it, and at the same time, like I would still look for jobs because
you weren't sure if it was
hard.
Gonna,
like
yeah.
I can't dictate online. Like I would get like a few sales, and then I wouldn't get anything, and then a few sales, and then it's really hard.
It kind of fluctuated.
Yeah, and then I would quit. I wouldn't come out with anything for a while, and then I'd come back. I wasn't consistent.
Okay.
It's very hard when you have an online shop to just stay consistent. Like you need to treat it like a real job, and most people don't. And I think that's why it's easier to accept the defeat, because actually working and doing stuff is hard. So what happened was, like I was telling my wife, like I don't know if I should keep going, you know. And my wife was like, I think you should open a shop. I think that would be cool.
So you were ready to quit, and she's already taking you to like a step you had no idea.
I didn't know if I was gonna quit, or I just like, you know, maybe I'll go work for another brand, or maybe like we can move to LA, and you know what I mean. Just, I don't know. It was like HC was cool, but that's all it was. Like there were people like these people that run brands, they were all following me, and they all appreciated what I did. But the consumers, they weren't like hopping on.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I'm on some shit that like people don't know yet, and that was really hard. You feel so close. It's kind of like being a recording artist, and producers and everything are all following you,
but nobody listens to your music.
Yeah, the fans aren't listening.
Yeah.
But Quincy Jones or whoever
listens to your music.
listens to your stuff. And
Yeah,
you're like, well, that's cool, but
I'm still broke.
Quincy's not buying anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like that kind of feel, and I don't know. Like it's just a grind, and it's like an abyss, you know. So then my wife was like, maybe you just need a shop, you know. And I was like, I don't know if I could have a shop, but like I said, like she believed in me, and I kind of like took the chance, and I was like, well, I'll look around, and I wanted it to be on Third.
Why is that?
Well, she was talking about Third Avenue being like this new up and coming place. She read a news article. She would send me these articles, and we live in Chula Vista, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Like, I don't think Third's gonna be anything. And then I started reading more articles about what they supposedly was going to happen. I said, I'll drive down Third and just see. And I happened to see this shop that we're in right now. And it said for lease. And I was like, I'll just look into it. And then when they told me the amount, I was like, oh man, I think I can make that happen. So, but I was scared. But again, like my family believed in me. Talked to my dad, like, am I an idiot? And he said no. You know, talked to my brothers. I basically talked to everyone. Talked to God, talked to anyone that would talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And when I talked to the people that were leasing it, they said, there's another person that wants to make an antique shop. So we need to know now if you want to get it or not, or else we're going to give it to that girl. I said, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I don't even know how to design it, or I don't have fixtures. I don't know.
You were on the line, so you're just like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, it's not like I was I had a lot of money and I was out like shopping at all these stores and like I know exactly how to do it. So all I knew is what I knew. So I made HC the best that I could on like shoestring budget. So yeah, today, well, now it's been 3 years since I've been here. It's actually been 3 years since July. And when I opened the store, I would say like from that point, that's when I really understood what HC is. I met so many amazing people, and it's crazy, like in 3 years, how much people grow up. And I've seen kids grow. I've seen all sorts of stuff. Like people tell me things about their life and their families, and you know, it's crazy. Like that's honestly like where the community part is. I met you here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A year ago.
Yeah, it feels like longer.
It does.
Yeah, I've met so many amazing people here.
So having said that, what does HC mean to you now?
To me now, like, so at first when I did Human Catalyst, I didn't know what it meant at all. I thought it was just like a person with the ability to change others, whatever.
A human catalyst.
Yeah, a human catalyst. And I don't even know. Really. But when I opened the store, I would realize that like I was the human catalyst. That like these people have come into my life and they've changed me. So I guess the customers were the human catalyst that have changed me. Like I would go home and tell my wife, like, not about how many shirts I sold, about whatever, but like, oh my gosh, I met this guy today, and this guy, you know, he's a championship pencil fighter, or, you know what I mean? Like, like I was so blown away about these people's stories. And that's truly what the passion has been. It no longer really is about the art for me. It's no longer really about like the coolness. I mean, it is, but the focus is really like the people. I've met so many amazing people that I appreciate that tenfold than the amount of money that I make. Yeah. And as long as I can keep the lights on and like the doors open and stuff, like I'm pretty hyped on that. You know, I mean, I would love to like feed my family more and go on fancy trips and stuff, but like I don't need a Lambo or things like that. I really just want to meet more people, and I've met some. Yeah, like I said, like I can go on and on about all these cool stories of amazing people. Yeah. You know.
So would you say that opening the store has changed who you are, or has affected who you are?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
I would say that opening the store has made me appreciate people more. I'm no longer hidden behind a monitor, and you know, like my communication still crappy. Sorry, people, but like I've gotten better, and I'm really like interested in people. Like when you're an online store, you're just interested in emails and transactions.
Buying, like people buying something.
Yeah, they're nothing. They're just dollar signs, right? But when you actually meet people and they really like your shirt and they talk to you like, why did you do that or whatever, it's like so much more fun.
That means so much more.
Yeah, it's like Human Catalyst had no real human interaction before the store. So having the store definitely like changed my life. I don't know, like it's sad that there's not more stores now. You know, I think that's a missing part. Like honestly, you can go on YouTube and check out people's brands and you could be all about it because you saw their interview or whatever, but dude, like there's nothing like actually meeting the real people.
Yeah.
People you meet on Instagram, it's like whatever, you know.
Mhm.
But to actually go and meet someone and
Mhm.
find out what they're about, like that's so much better than
So much bigger. Yeah.
yeah, like me going to like Best Buy and or Amazon, you know. I don't know who those people are that are packing my stuff, but
Mhm.
I guarantee if you've ever ordered anything from me, like I'm the one packing your stuff. Like,
Yeah.
This has been a one-man band, and
There's no little elves in the back who wrap up your orders or anything. It's all
yeah,
you.
and like everyone that comes here, like I'm the employee of the month because like I'm the only worker here. Like,
Yeah.
One day I had my daughter here, but besides that,
It's all been you.
it's all been me. I'm the one that like shook your hand. I'm the one that packed your stuff, you know. And if you ordered online, hopefully one day, like if you're ever in town, like you can come by. And even if I'm not open, like right now I'm only open Saturdays. But if you've ever ordered online and you come, just hit me up. I'll open the store for you. Like,
Yeah.
you're a part of this. Like everyone online, everyone on Instagram, all the likes, all whatever, like you're a part of this story. Like it's woven in the fabric of Human Catalyst. And I don't know, like I can't even believe that I'm still here,
Yeah.
you know. So I appreciate everyone because honestly, like I can't build this on my own. I can open the store on my own. I could sit here and work here on my own, but the doors wouldn't stay open without everyone's support.
If it wasn't for everybody else.
Yeah. And I think it's like so important.
So let's start to wrap it up here. Why, having said all of that,
Yeah.
you know, this entire conversation, why do you do Human Catalyst? Why are you still doing Human Catalyst?
I think I do Human Catalyst because it's like I have that passion in me to create, but I never knew like what I wanted to create for. And I don't really necessarily want to create for someone to drive a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I don't even necessarily want to create for myself to drive a Ferrari. But what I do want to do is make something respectable that like my kids and my family can say like, that was pretty cool, Dad's store, and like what Dad did. And also like for all the people that I've met, like I want to offer them something that to me is like better than the crap they can get at like Zoomies and PacSun and whatever. Like if you want to be like basic ass people and
Malcore?
yeah, Mallcore and buy that, then that's cool. But you know what? You don't know the people behind those brands and everything. Like you can come here and talk to me and ask me questions and like see if that's even something you want to rep. Like
Yeah.
you know, but I feel that like I have accountability to everyone that's ever bought my stuff. I feel like responsible to like put my best foot forward on behalf of all them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to be wearing something that like you don't agree with
Or
necessarily.
it doesn't mean anything.
Or it doesn't mean anything. Like
Yeah.
to me, Human Catalyst is really about everyone out there. It's like the people, and I'm just a representative of it. And yeah, I mean that's why I do it. I do it because I think that I can offer something better than the crap that's out there,
Yeah.
and in a more respectable way. And I think that you're supporting like a good person who backs up good people.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a small person, and again, like that's why I do Hotel Charlie. It's really like I feel that there's these amazing people that I've met through the store who don't have the opportunity to the outlet of people that I do. And some of them have more, some of them whatever. Like it's not really about the numbers. It's just these are people that wouldn't necessarily like take the time out to listen to you or see what you do. And maybe through me, I can bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And if I could do that, like, because I'm so grateful for the people that have bridged the gap for me, to let people know, like, hey, this shirt, oh yeah, Human Catalyst, like, check it out, you know? And then they give them the website or give them a sticker or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be able to survive. So it's the least I can do for everyone. And even though Hotel Charlie is so long and the format's weird,
Yeah.
I think my intention and my heart is there, and I hope that people can see that. You know what I mean? But that's why I do what I do.
So it turns out the human catalyst was you all along. The
Yeah,
listener.
like it really is. Like anyone that's ever walked through the door, anyone that's ever gone on my site, anyone that's ever gone on IG and said, "That's weak," whatever, like, or "Flames, bro," whatever. It all helps fuel the fire to like keep going. You know what I mean? So I've done HC for 8 years now.
Wow.
Almost 8 years, and I've had the shop for 3 years, and it's like I never thought I would have got to this point, because I said when I started I was at the absolute low, like the lowest of the low,
Rock bottom.
yeah, I mean, like I had thoughts of like just super negative, like
I feel you.
I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do, you know. And today, it's like we're almost at the 3-year anniversary. We're gonna have an event. It's crazy,
Yeah.
you know, and hopefully, like, there's many more. And where that journey goes, like, I have no idea. Hopefully, one day, maybe I'll be Maldcore.
You'll be Malcore.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you can find Human Catalyst at your Zoomies.
Yeah,
Local
Zoomies, or maybe Forever 21.
Oh no, you can't say that.
You know.
So my last question for you, bro.
Yeah.
Having Human Catalyst for 8 years, having the shop open for 3 years, what's next?
I don't know. Like, I really want to. I've met a lot of people, like, who've come through the doors. I'd really like to find a way for me to branch out and meet people elsewhere. Like,
Okay.
I think there's people, like, in every state that might appreciate what I do, but I don't have access to people in every state.
Yeah.
And it's not about me trying to, like, make money. It's really about the amount of people that might appreciate what I do. And there's so many people out there in the world now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my focus, like, I represent SD and Chula Vista, but, like, the world is bigger than that. And I think I need to do a better job at expansion as far as, you know, meeting people, getting put on to, like, people in other states, and putting, like, me supporting them and them supporting me, like, that kind of thing. So to me, like, the thought about it was like Hotel Charlie, I have the most access to people elsewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I want to focus on that. I want to focus on, you know, the podcast, like, I guess doing it better, making it more fun for people, whatever, and putting people onto things all over. Basically bridging the gap. Find some like-minded people, help some people out, you know, find some other brands to, like, support, you know, and likewise just, I guess, grow, you know, keep on growing.
Well, that's all I got for you, bro.
All right, well.
This has been a pretty long podcast. I think this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
longest one you've had.
No, there's been pretty long ones, but
Yeah.
no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing
Thank you,
that.
bro. I appreciate you.
Again, like, if you guys, he doesn't want to do the podcast yet, but check him out, Jerusalem Vice.
Thank you. I'm a rapper, artist, whatever you want to call it, but today was about you. I'll be the interviewee pretty soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, today was all about you and the 3rd anniversary, and I'm just glad we got to do this,
No,
bro.
I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time out to listen. Hopefully, you learn a little bit about me. I'm sure there's a ton more, but we have a 3-year come through. And if this is beyond that, because I suck or something, I'm open Saturdays. You could come through, ask me whatever you want.
So the 3rd anniversary event is here at your shop on August 25th?
23rd.
23rd?
Yeah, Friday.
Okay, so if you're listening to this before Friday the 23rd,
Yeah,
come through August 23rd here at the Human Catalyst shop on 3rd Avenue in Chula Vista.
Yeah.
What time does it start?
6 to 10.
Okay, so 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and you're going to have producers here,
yeah,
right?
Producers here doing live beats, and then we'll have some giveaways, things like that. But really, beyond that, like, if you ever want to like DM, email info@thehumancatalyst.com. Come through the doors, and I don't know. Like, I'm always interested in talking to people. I don't care if you buy stuff. It's nice if you do.
I come in every Saturday and I don't buy anything, but
yeah, that is true. But nah, like, come through, check it out. Good conversation as always. And thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Tell a friend, tell your grandma, tell your neighbor. I need some views.
need some likes.
Some likes, yeah, give us some thumbs up. Oh, smash that like button.
Smash that like
Yeah,
button.
smash that like button. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking it out.
August 23rd, be here.
And again, thank you, Russ.
Thank you, bro.
All right, take it easy, guys.